Welcome again to Wickerson Studios, computational development, I guess that's what we'll call it. I am continuing with going into the Rhino developer page and taking a look at the samples that Steve Barris pulled into Python. Thank you, and hopefully I don't run out of ones that actually are only written in VB or C#. But what I've done is I've gone in and I've grabbed a basic script, and here you can see it playing out here, and I'll run it. And what happens is it says, where's the first corner of a rectangle, the second corner of a rectangle, and you've produced yourself a nice clipping plane. And that's what the basic script does. Now I want to jazz it up and make it parametric with Grasshopper, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to sneeze first. One sec. And it's loud. Probably not going to sneeze now. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Anyway, let's take a look at what my script does. So what I did was I leave that one alone, close that one out. And what I have is this script over here, which is basically generally the same. If I could just clip on it, I'm having trouble. There it is. And what I do is I end with these kind of functions in Grasshopper that end up producing planes, producing something ghosted. So I'm just going to downplay that, and it shouldn't be asking for, well, it does ask for those things. What I do is I run the same script again, and it will run the function if I run it, which is fine. But I also pull it out afterwards outside of the function, as you notice, and just get the bare bones of it. And those are parametric functions that come in as points, which I can play around with, and it generates a Grasshopper plane. So it not only bakes in a pretty cool, draws a nice, redraws it in here for us to play with and play with those clipping planes. And I actually have two on here, so I can move it around, slide it around like this. A little hard to see in here. I think I go back to shading and get a sense of what's happening there. And I can use that plane, move it around. But what I like is I have control over that plane. And every time you move it, you bake it in there. So if I run it, you're going to see that's where it's baked in right now, where the points are pointing. So the script is fairly simple. All the things in here that I could pull out and hashtag in the comments I was doing, but I still need the view, and it's local to this function. View equals the active viewport. The plane I could have got rid of, and I did. I got rid of the one I was using, and I put in the XYZ parameters, which I brought in as single integers, as single items access going in here. Item access and type int, I believe, is integer. It's not coming up on this page, but that's what it is. And then I really just need my ID, which is Rhino in the active doc. I want to bake it in there and make an add a clipping plane, which requires a plane, the distance from X to Y, the distance from Y to Z, really just dealing with the corner points of a rectangle that you might end up making. But it's a nice little script. We run it. It doesn't need, it's really just playing off of the nature of the this. But as we run it, you can see what happens here, and I really like this tool. And I can imagine, and all I'm going to do is play with the angle of this, but as I angle that, you'll see what it does to my object. It slices through. So this is the type of stuff that you want to do. It's now it's sliced through and it's made too many frames, so you can't actually see any. So we got to select them all to actually see where the slicing is happening. And there you get all these nice cuts. I mean, it really is incredible stuff when you start thinking about this, what's playing off of here, what you're looking at, and what you're seeing. So what a tool to start to think about visualizing how you're doing this. So my plane is up high now. I'm going to bring it back down through the form. Start it off where it was again. Erase my function. There's the plane, and you watch that angle. And as I angle it up, it bakes in my clipping planes at different angles. And I stop at the one that I actually like. And I like that angle there. Now you can also do some funny twists. You can, well, actually, this just scales it bigger and smaller. But it just changed the position of it where it starts. So I really like this tool. I like the way the Python function bakes in what I'm kind of playing with and what I want to do with it. I'm going to cut it down here, and there it is, and I can use that plane. I can grab any one of those planes, and there's so many there to choose from. Well, if I wanted that plane to be my clipping plane, and I wanted to move that around, you probably want to go into multiple views when you're doing that. That way you can kind of drag it around at this angle and see how it has effect. Drag it around to this angle, and of course it's not going in the right way. I actually want to pull it up, so I'll grab it over here and haul it up in the Z direction, and you should see its effects on the surface. That one's on too much of an angle, so it's not really happening. This one, I'll see if I can take it up and alter it, and it's carving it a little bit on the back, but it's probably best to choose the frame that you like, the setting that you like when you're said and done, and then just bake that by either what's the best way to just run it? Well, you just run your script. That's it. Um, and then you've got a tool that you can grab that clipping plane, and we can start playing with that, how that affects that, plays around and slices through. Remember, the clipping plane is just a imaginary scale, which you can change with. The grasshopper plane, which is here, if it's too small when it comes up, you could always go into your display uh, uh, plane size, and you can take that up to 124 if we wanted to. And there you go. Now you got a nice size plane you can play with and see your grasshopper model as you're picking around through it. And keep in mind that this whole thing can be altered and played with just by working in the Rhino window. So what I'm getting into is this type of development that you can control it through Python, through Grasshopper, make it parametric away from the nodes, so you stay with simple scripts, but you jazz them up actually prior to what I call the machine, which is red Python code machine. And I'm onto something that's new because I haven't found anybody else doing this, and there's no way I'm going to come up with the infinite nature of what you can do here with something that somebody else did. But it is a fun little tool in there. Baking just other ones and cooking in a bunch of other scripts. And if I like the one I actually produce, I'll take that one. And once again, I can pull it out of my Rhino window if that's what I so choose, and play it in and bring it in like that. And I can also change the angle of that, slice it through and say, hey, I like that angle that's right there. I really like this, that I can click out of this frame. I'm not even sure how I did it before. I think I just clicked out. Oh, I lost my plane there. But I had a way of losing my rendering and only having my lines, which I thought was pretty cool to grab all those. But I'm happy with that angle, so I'll delete all my clipping planes that were being fabricated. I'll run the test once, and I leave that little clip there. And of course, I missed a couple because with clipping planes, no matter what angle you're in, you're probably going to. So there's one there, and I can grab that clipping plane, and I can pull that one at least down in a direction. And in doing so, because I've already clipped it off and erased it, if I moved it down and I've got another plane here, I'll have to get rid of that to bring it down to that other plane. So a very smart, I don't know if it's smart, I don't know if it's foolish. It's very playful. Got a little zebra rendering on there to make it kind of fun and exciting to look at. But 7 minutes of playing around with exactly what I'm doing. And if you don't believe me that I'm doing this, I'm literally doing it for every single thing that Steve Bear has written in from C to VB script over to Python. And what I'm trying to do is just amplify the play on these Python nodes. And the outcome is always these. And if actually I'm starting to pull in, I had what I had before? I had the yellow were the parameters before, the red is stop and look at the Python script by clicking it. And then if I had any outcome that was worth looking at, I was pulling it into a green function. But I've decided with these, because they're kind of Grasshopper final forms and they're unique to what I was doing earlier, I'm just going to group those, throw them into a blob, and take them to that beautiful color blue, which makes me so passively happy. And there you go. You got another script to play with, and I'm just keep updating this with new and new. And when I'm done, we're going to have like 150 of these running through that I can kind of play with. And I really find it exciting. I really think that this is the way I think, the way I always thought Rhino could be. I was stuck in the command line. I'm programming in Python. I can mess with it in Python. I can mess with it in Grasshopper. I can add, and what I like here is I can add to this after. Of course, once I have that clipping plane done, it's not a geometry I really want to play with. And to understand it as a clipping plane, what would I then do with it? It won't have an effect on. I don't think it would have an effect. That's a very interesting question. If I took it through, and this may be just a waste of your time watching this, so just bear with me. But let's take it through a 3D rotate and just see what happens if I pull it through an angle. I think the center's set. Let me just pull it through a pi and see if I can pull it into a rotation into a certain. I'm going to go to 2.00. Oop. I must be locked up in a command. There we go. 2.00 because I like dealing in radians. And am I getting around to moving that? And in moving that, does that have any effect? Not sure if it does because the original stays there. This is all after the fact, so it can't have an effect before it. But since that plane's there, I guess I could run the script again by pulling that in and making the plane parametric. Because at some point, you end up working yourself out of the script right back into Grasshopper. But my main goal here is to keep the basic running of the program and do all the parameter shifts prior to the node. So I hope that makes sense, and it's a totally different approach to how I've been thinking about doing this. But to me, these are little tiny clipping plane, add circle, add child layer, add breadbox, add object decoration, add cylinder machines that generate some really interesting geometries. Actually, if I take that one and put it on preview, I have to wonder if I'm even running that script. That might be a fun one to just jump in and run. There we go, test. And I'm not sure if we got anything. It's hard to tell because I might have been working very large or small. I think I turned off everything. Anyway, don't know if that one's working. And if my breadth's set up to actually operate. Oh, that's my cylinder. Anyway, that's how it's going. I'm generating some cool geometries. I'm customizing these initial base scripts as they come in. And hopefully some people take some interest in this. Probably got about 3 dozen people in the world that are interested in this, but I'm doing it for them. Thanks for watching. Better shut it off.